Have you ever actually met/know someone who has won the lottery? What happened to them? My Mill won 33K on a scratch-off. She paid off some debt and got new windows installed on her house. The new windows in an 1890s farmhouse are amazing. Don't think I've seen a happier woman. I know two people who have won significant sums, well, significant for me. First guy won $100,000 back in the early 2000s. Him and his wife agreed to split it between them. She bought a car. He slowly lost most of his half over the course of a couple of years playing in poker tournaments. Other people aren't friends, but I see them a few times a year. They won $61 million in 2013. They bought a home in my mom's neighborhood, lakeside property, but priced in the $200,000, $500,000 range back in 2013, depending on which lot. I'd met them several times before finding out that they were screw you rich. You'd never know they were more than a regular retired couple who had enough money in the bank to take cruises and such. They are some of the most down-to-earth people I know, nice cars, but nothing fancy, etc. I sold mortgages for a bit and talked to a lady who was dead broke, in mountains of debt, and was trying to consolidate debt and refinance her house. Through the course of conversation, it came to light that she won almost $4 million playing the lottery, and took home $2 million after taxes, about 3 years earlier. She was in bad financial shape, so I asked what she did with all the money and how she got into the situation she was in, and she honestly had no idea. Her words were essentially, we took a few trips, bought 2 new cars, paid off the house and stuff, but I have no clue how I spent $2 million and racked up over $100,000 in credit card debt in 3 years. I had a patient, a hairdresser who owned her own shop, who won about $6 million. Her winnings were announced in the local newspaper. She consulted the right professionals, worked a plan to sell her salon, and mapped a way to retire on her winnings without a change in her lifestyle. But she told me that she had old boyfriends, and even guys that barely knew her in high school, who called her with some variation of, "You know I always loved you." She just laughed and blew them off. A friend of mine won about $250,000 at a casino, and then he lost almost all of it. My sister's ex won around $150 million. Nicest guy, his brother manages the money so he doesn't blow it. Living his best life, money never changed him, because he was already so chill. Dude deserves it after putting up with my sister. Helped out my niece, not his daughter, with college. Yes. I won $5 last week, smiley face. I know someone who won $100,000, after taxes, in his 20s. He bought his dream vehicle, a $20,000 motorcycle. The rest he used as a down payment on a house. It wasn't life-changing money, but enough to give him a jump start on adult life. Kept his day job. My stepdad's brother won 4.3 M 20 years ago. Still chillin'. Invested in real estate and kept rolling them over for profit. Friends of ours won 30 mil. They took a group of us on vacation. Bought a cottage and built a house. Not much really changed. They are doing great. I know 2 people that won $30 million each, a co-worker of my dad. My dad had to cover his shift when he didn't show for work, turned out he was at the lottery office claiming his win, and my sister's former assistant, she is still in touch with her, she built a home in and moved to France with her husband. My neighbor won the lottery in his 60s, it was something like $1.2 million in the late 90s. We lived in a trailer park in a rural part of the US, a pretty low cost of living area, so the money stretched pretty far. He bought his trailer and land outright with the money and pretty much just spent every day drinking on his porch and yelling at his goats. IRC, he used a good chunk of what he won to put his son and grandkids through college. Died of liver failure at like 85 or something. Not a terrible way to do it, all said and done. When I was 10 in late 70s, my friend's family won 3 million. I went to his house to see if he was coming out. The house was empty and they were gone and I never saw him again. 2 people, actually. One was a friend of mine in high school who won $15,000 on a scratch and win. She rented a house downtown and threw a party. Somebody said I should stop by and check in on her, because they'd been down to the party and hardly recognized anybody. Sure enough, I got there, my friend met me on the door, put way too much money in my hands and told me to go get a bottle of wine. She just partied with whoever was around until it was gone, took about 3 weeks. Next was a friend of mine from Toronto who is mostly known for doing zombie walks. She won a cash for life dealio and I think it's around $10,000 a month. She bought a theremin and started making 50s style monster movies and is generally living a high-rolling rockabilly lifestyle. Someone got 30K or something. Not too much, not too less. She got a lot of hate for not sharing her riches, whatever the fuck that means. Friend won 1 million. They paid off their house, saved for their kids' education and basically don't live paycheck to paycheck anymore. Both of them still work full-time. Technically, a kid from school's parents won a few $100,000. His parents were chill, acted like they had the same money as before, but the kid was acting like a baller. A woodwork teacher from high school won the lottery twice. I think it was only around $250K each time, so he didn't quit his job, but he completely gave up on trying to keep the class under control. He'd usually just show us YouTube videos of him racing superbikes in the countryside. He gave me a decent grade for a clock I made at least. My aunt's husband won $36 million. They bought property and traveled. He liked to fish and drink and build stuff. He passed away 3 years ago, but he was an awesome dude. Yeah. 8 figures. They stayed in the same house. Added a second story to that house. Put a lot of statues in the yard. So now there's this house, and it's kind of in a rough area behind a Food Lion, but there's a 2-story brick house in the middle of a neighborhood where the rest of the houses are small single-family homes with pink siding that haven't been updated since the 60s, and this brick house has a tiny front yard filled a bunch of statues of Jesus. And palm trees, even though they don't grow natively here. And a really fancy gate for the driveway, but no fence around the rest of the yard. They stayed loyal to their community and I respect that. Also, they have a golf cart to ride to the corner store and buy their daily scratch-offs.